Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Draymond Green finally says something nice about the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you have been paying attention during these NBA playoffs, from the moment that Draymond Green's Golden State Warriors were eliminated, which was immediate, he started talking. Unfortunately, most of that talk was directed negatively when it came to the Minnesota Timberwolves, at least until Monday. Draymond Green had quite a wild ride this season for the Golden State Warriors, and some of his angst may be due to the fact that the dynasty run is over. He tangled with Rudy Gobert early on when putting him in a chokehold, and has spouted off about the Minnesota Timberwolves playoff run at multiple different points. Following a Game 7 victory that made him eat crow after saying they don't have belief and the series was over, he finally found something positive to say. What's beautiful about what Minnesota is doing is it's the ultimate team thing. Rudy Gobert came in and played big basketball, but that was after getting bullied. And KAT stepping up to that challenge and taking it on, and KAT stepping up for Ant-Man, and Jaden McDaniels stepping up, Naz Reid stepping up. Like it's the ultimate team thing, and I think it's absolutely beautiful to see. And I feel like they are taking those steps that you need to take as it go. I tip my hat to them. It's going to be interesting to see them versus Dallas next series. It's going to be a hell of a matchup. You've got a couple of young stars in Ant-Man and Luka. Though he did throw some more shade at Rudy Gobert, Green went as positive as he may ever have towards the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he went as far as picking them to advance to the NBA Finals, for now. The Wolves enter the series as favorites versus the Dallas Mavericks, and they won 3 of the 4 regular season contests, though 3 of those games didn't include Kyrie Irving. With home court advantage, Chris Finch and co. have to feel good about the position his team is ultimately in. Of course, with Draymond Green posted up somewhere in Cancun, he should have plenty of time to continue his analysis of the upcoming series and break down games for the masses. How he handles his assessment of Gobert specifically, but also the Timberwolves during those segments remains to be seen, but for now there's a level of positivity. We'll have a very quick answer as to whether Green's positivity stays towards the Timberwolves, as he will join the Inside the NBA crew for the entirety of the Western Conference Finals. While personality has often got him thrown off the court, it seems to draw positive reviews from the media side of things. After knocking out the defending champions in arguably the greatest game in franchise history, Finch and Micah Nori will need to get players turning the page and focused on the next task ahead of them. Dallas took out the favored Oklahoma City Thunder, and it's beyond clear they don't care whether or not they are seen as underdogs. Retired ref hits Warriors Chris Paul with shocking accusation amid Scott Foster beef. A heated feud in the NBA isn't even between players. Whether it's with the Los Angeles Clippers, Houston Rockets, Oklahoma City Thunder, Phoenix Suns, or Golden State Warriors, Scott Foster will always get into it with Chris Paul. These two have gone on to exchange words and then some when the official gets assigned to the player. However, former referee Bill Spooner posits that there could be something more to this beef than meets the eye. Bill Spooner served as one of the top referees of the NBA for 32 years. He saw the rise of Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls, got to officiate a large chunk of LeBron James' career, observed the growth of the San Antonio Spurs with Greg Popovich, and got to watch the peak of the Warriors dynasty. This veteran just got to retire in 2020. So, everything that he has been through is still fresh in his memories. One thing that he will never forget during his time in the NBA is the bad blood between Chris Paul and Scott Foster. The latter name always had a tarnished image among individuals close to the league. After all, he was very close with Tim Donaghy. But, his beef with the Warriors guard is different. Spooner outlines why this is unique, via Jason Quick of The Athletic. I'm going to tell you, and I know you are recording me, but I get asked all the time, who are some of the tough guys, some of the bad guys? And when I tell them that Chris Paul, in my 32 years in the league, was one of the biggest a-holes I ever dealt with, they say, not Rasheed Wallace, or da-da-da? Nope. Nothing like Paul. And they are like, oh, he seems like such a nice guy. And I say, yeah, he's a great image cultivator, he said. In addition, he posits that Chris Paul has been slowly campaigning against Foster. Paul's biggest weapon against Foster has always been his callouts. The NBA referee would then retaliate by seemingly making skewed calls against the Warriors guard. A new chapter was added to it when Paul was assessed an ejection during their battle with the Suns. Paul had been given 2 technical fouls all before the third quarter, and this did not sit right with him. He would then expose the root cause of their long-standing beef. It's personal. We had a situation some years ago, and it's personal. The league knows, everybody knows, and it's been a meeting and all that. It's a situation with my son, and so, yeah. I'm okay with a ref talking, saying whatever, just don't use a tech to get your point across. I gotta do a better job making sure I stay on the floor for my teammates. But, yeah, that's that, the Warriors guard said. Some avid spectators can only speculate what this is all about. But, the relationship does not look very reparable at any angle at all. Stephen Curry replacement, NBA exec suggests Dejounte Murray trade. The Hawks have a pivotal offseason ahead, and it's sure to involve at least one major trade. Most expect Atlanta to deal one of Trae Young or Dejounte Murray. Armed with the number 1 overall pick, Landry Fields should have enough at his disposal to retool the roster around one of their all-star point guards. The Hawks could decide to go with a full-fledged rebuild by moving both and collecting as much draft capital and young pieces as possible. One interesting prospect was floated by an anonymous NBA executive. A trade that would send Dejounte Murray to the Warriors as a de facto Stephen Curry replacement. Of all the guys they might be able to trade for, he is probably realistic because he does not make a ton of money, and they could add him, put him in Chris Paul's spot, give up 2 first-round picks, and now you've gotten some defense in there, you've got another scorer in there, you have a guy who makes some sense, one Western Conference exec said, via Sean Devaney of Heavy.com. The Warriors need a wing more than a point guard, but Murray is a bigger guard who can guard multiple positions on the defensive end. He's coming off a campaign in which he averaged a career-high 22.5 points per game on 45.9% shooting from the field and 36.3% from 3. No one is gonna replace Steph, the exec added. But that team needs to look at everybody they might think of getting and ask, Stephen Curry replacement? Stephen Curry replacement? If you can bring in Murray, you've got a point guard for the next 5 or 10 years if you want him. That's a start on replacing him. The only issue with the Hawks hitting the reset button and going toward a total rebuild is the Spurs own some of their first-round picks, but the prospect of a Dejounte Murray trade with the Warriors is interesting depending on the return. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Dejounte Murray? Leave your opinion in the comments.